Hello, sir.
Yeah, Trishit, you have any question?
Yes, sir. Good
Yeah, please
evening,
go
sir.
ahead. You're not
Yes,
audible.
sir. Sir, basically, sir, like I want to know how. Yeah, sir. Basically, sir, I want to know. Okay. I'm audible now, sir.
Yes, you're audible now.
Hello.
Yes, you're audible.
Hello.
Hello, you're audible.
Hello.
Go ahead. Please ask your question.
Hello.
Hello,
Okay,
am I
sir.
audible to others?
Sir, basically, I want. Yeah, basically, I want to know how to. Yes, sir.
Yeah, what is that you want to know?
Yeah, basically, how to pursue the business. Basically, where.
Your voice is not audible, Trishit. I don't know if it is only for me or for others as well. Others, are you able to hear, Trishit? I'm not able to.
Now, yes, I'm able to hear you. It is issues generation, I think so.
Pardon?
It's issues, not from your side. I'm able to hear you correctly.
No, could you please type your question in the chat box, Trishit? I'll take it up. So anybody who wants to ask questions on the Capstone project, I'll be there, and Hari may be joining shortly. So until then, if you have any questions on the Capstone project, I'll be taking it.
Good evening, sir.
So yeah,
Good evening, sir. I hope I'm audible.
yes, Vaibhavi, please go ahead.
Sir, I have few questions. The Google form which was released regarding the Capstone project, in that we have to upload one project proposal.
Yes,
And in that, the first question was, is the project solving any kind of business problem? So
right.
does it mean that we have to just take a business statement like,
No. What is a business problem is that you go and speak to a business. Okay, it could be any business, and ask them what problems have they faced of late. If they have faced any particular problems, and so they may give you a list of problems. You choose any one problem which you want, or they may kind of mention you one problem that they want to work on, and then you collect data pertaining to that particular problem. So that is what we want you to kind of say. I mean, that this has been the research problem, this is the research problem, and this is the organization, whether it is into B2B or B2C, and that is what we want you to kind of mention there.
okay, sir. And sir, in that it was also mentioned that we have to upload a project proposal, and which would
Yes,
be a summary of the project, and it would be 5 to 6 pages long. So we have
yes,
to just
yes.
prepare a rough report,
Yeah,
basically.
you have to prepare that report, and that will be evaluated. If your business, if you're kind of solving a business problem, then what we'll be doing is that if it is fine, then we'll be giving you a feedback. If there are any issues, then we'll tell you that this is something which we have to work on or do rework or something. Because there was one question where somebody asked me, can I do it on income tax filing and all that? So that is not a business kind of problem. So let me give you an example. You go to a restaurant, and the manager or the owner says that the sales is low, but we don't know why. Now there is a problem. Then you ask them why it is so, then they'll be narrating you certain things. Then you kind of start collecting data from them. What is the items that they have, the list of menu, when people, how many people are patronizing it, the number of orders which are being taken, how it is being, this is all the things which you collect relevant to that particular problem. So that is how you go about it, right? And then you kind of analyze them, and then based on that analysis you kind of give certain insights to the owner. So that is how you go about it.
And so there is no restriction that do we only have to go for the unstructured or the structured business.
No, you can go to anything. See, if you go to a normal vegetable market where people sell it on streets, I mean, which is an unstructured market, so they don't have a billing mechanism or anything in place. They just get things as they want, right? So they don't remember anything. In such cases, the effort from you will be more, and we usually encourage you to collect data from unstructured markets. You can do it from the structured things also, but when you do it from an unstructured place, what happens is that a lot of effort goes into that, right? You will be collecting data on a daily basis, and that is how you will also learn new things. So it can be anything, it can be structured, it can be unstructured. With unstructured, the thing is that data collection will be a challenge, but it will be a very good experience, and people have done very good projects on that.
Answer one last question that
Yes.
pertaining to a certain problem, like we have different kinds of data collected, like do we have to make only the balance sheet or the stock report? So
No, no,
that
no.
will
It
be,
is what you have to do is see once you by now that Flipkart the FabMart case would have been over, right? The FabMart case, and now you would have also been learning the Ace Gears case studies. So see how you can make. So there, the professor should have kind of presented you, would have analyzed you the data and shown how things are done. So that is the start point for you. So we encourage you to do some kind of analysis, but don't limit it to it. You can make use of your learnings from TDS, BA, or other courses, and then use innovative thoughts to kind of design dashboards or many things like that. So analysis is up to your imagination. You can use any softwares, Excel, R, Python, whatever that you want. You can use anything and you can do it.
but sir, we have to restrict the slides till 5. The maximum slides would be only
that is
5.
that is not now, that is for the final viva OC. So that is 10, which is not 5. If you have had a look at the rubrics which you have sent, so we have mentioned that it is up to 10. Earlier it was 5. So for this batch onwards, since it is a new project as a whole, the number of slides that are restricted is 10. That is what we have said, which means ideally there will be 1-2 slides you can use to. So we have clearly mentioned in the rubrics what is that you have to do, right? So what is expected out of you during the first proposal stage, what is that you need to submit in the midsum stage, analysis and interpretation, what is that so just follow that. And any sequence you can, you maintain a sequence. It should look like a story. When you're going from one section to another, there has to be a connect and there should be no jump. Let me give you an example. When you're watching a movie, if there is a sudden jump, you're not able to connect with one section and the next. But if it is, nice narrative is given, then you're able to make sense out of it, right? So that is how we want you to give, so that there is a connect between whatever you write.
And so the
Any
project
meeting,
proposal which has to be submitted, that has to be submitted in a Word document.
yeah, Word or PDF, anything will work. It is
Okay.
one and the same. So once you submit the document, so the dates also have been given. So typically we evaluate it faster and do it. And then once your proposal is fine and you want certain sessions with the TAs or with us, then we can arrange that. But before that, you'll have to do some kind of preliminary work and come. Correct. So which we have explained to you. Suppose there are 4 or 5 problems and now you are confused which one you have to take. Then the best bet is that you speak to the owner and ask them what kind of data is available. If on all 5 it is available, then it is up to you which is that you want to take. Or if you are confused, you can always speak to us and find out what is that you want to do, right? So do something which will add value. That is what I would say.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for
No problem.
clarifying.
Yeah, I'll also take questions from the chat box. Okay, basically I was wanting to how to pursue the business giving their data. Whenever I'm trying to approach, most of them are saying our data is a company property. Yeah, so what happens is, Trishit, that you're right, that whenever you're approaching somebody, they would not directly give it. So you will have to there are many ways of getting the data. Firstly, you can reach out to your friends who own a business. Your family also may own some business, or your friends or your relatives, anybody it could be, who kind of own a business. So this is something which you need to keep on trying. And when you keep on trying, there will be one, when you keep on trying, at least one success you will get. So when me and Hari we did it first time, we kind of had to approach many of them then, but there were few of them who are ready to give it also. So this is the challenge. Okay, then Mahavir asks, Abhay, yeah, once I'll finish this, I'll take your question. Mahavir asks, where to upload the summary? Do we need to register? Where to upload the summary? The summary is to be uploaded in the Google form, which they have kind of sent. Do we need to register for the Capstone project? Yes, I think they have kind of already given you details about that. Otherwise, ask, can we do the project next term? And if yes, then when do we have to pay the fees? The project can be done parallelly with the medium coursework, or you can do it at a later stage. Regarding the fees, you'll have to check it with the support, but you can do it anytime. So if you have registered now, you have the option to do it until December, if I'm not wrong, as per the rubrics which we have kind of sent to you. Abhay, yes, I'll take your question after that, Trishit.
Yes, sir. So exactly, sir, I want to ask that, is there any a deadline for that one, just we have to do for this term, or something,
No, suppose.
when if I talk about this term will end, and after that, just 15 and 20 days are the gap, so we can do in between them.
Yeah, see, the thing is, suppose you're submitting a proposal now. So we have given certain deadlines, right? This month, next month, like that. So we will be following that deadlines only. But suppose, let us say you gave stage 1, but you are not
Yeah.
able to submit stage 2 on time. Then next month, that particular deadline will be considered.
Okay, okay. So if I'm talking about the data part, so I have many friends, just who own business, but exactly the problem is they are not structured data. So and the billing process is not, just like in a
Correct,
computerized or
correct.
something like that. So just they remember something like that. So just how many days, just we have to take the data like
No,
for last two.
the more is always better. The I would say
So
that the
like
more is
just we have to type it by hand, just one by
yeah, I
one
mean,
like
see,
that.
if it is unstructured, if they've written it on papers, you'll have to enter it in an Excel sheet, and
Yeah.
then you have to clean the data. Cleaning the data means removing irrelevant data. There was one question on the discourse. Let me take this opportunity to even explain that.
Yeah.
So, what is data cleaning? So, suppose when you're making entry, instead of 20 rupees, you write 200. Now, you will see that, everything, the line is something linear, but for 20, you see a sudden spike. Now, let us say that
Yes.
there are 5 people in an organization who are earning 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, and by mistake you wrote 1 lakh. Now the outlier is 1 lakh. Now that is kind of truncating everything
Yes.
towards one
Yes.
side, right? So that is
Yes.
data
Yes.
cleaning. So you will have to ensure and make double check that you have not done something like that. So that is
Okay.
point.
One thing, sir, more, just I wanted, there is some medium, just video had happened. So like, in that one, I think you or many of the instructors explained that how to get the proposal or something like that. So is that the video link with
Yeah, I
you?
mean, it is available on YouTube. See, there were 2 closed sessions done in WebEx, which we are
Okay.
not able to share, given that there is a NDA between the businesses and this thing, which the students kind of did not want to do it. So that is why it was closed one. But otherwise, we have this is the 8th session which is happening today. So if you have a look at those videos, we have explained what you have to do. Simple thing. Again, to those who are just joined now, also just explain. Approach a business, and it could be any business. It could be a
Okay.
structured business like a manufacturing organization, IT sector, etc. It could be an unstructured business like a kirana store, vegetable vendors, etc. But it has to be a business. Go
Okay.
to them, speak to them, try to understand what their business problem is, collect
Okay.
data but irrelevant to that particular problem. And the minimum time period for data collection is 1 month, because anything less than that you will not be able to see any
Yes.
trends.
Yes.
The more is
Yes.
always better. You can collect for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, it's left to you, but minimum time period is one month. And
Okay.
after that you do the analysis, and once you kind of do the analysis, you have to give the insights or certain new implications based on the things that you observe from your analysis. Correct? So if they give you better data, you will be able to give them better insights. That's how
Okay.
it is.
Okay. 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 Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, adding to what Ashwin said, there's one more point that you may have to look at. How long do you have to collect the data? For example, 1 month is the minimum period, but it also depends on the business problem that you take. Say, for example, you wanted to find out the seasonality of a particular product. What time the product is spiking when in terms of sales, what time when there is a dip in the sales and all those things. You might need to have data with respect to 2 to 3 years minimum to even get a pattern out of it. So
Yes. Yes.
basically, first of have this in mind that your business problem is something which drives your data collection. All right. So
So
that is exactly why you must be very, 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 very careful about your proposals. All right.
okay.
So in
Okay.
that proposal state, while we read your proposal, we will give you suggestions as to this is okay, this much duration of data collection is fine, this is not fine, and all those things. That kind of a support we will be able to give, based on which you can redesign your proposal and then project
Yeah.
and then go ahead and collect data.
Okay.
All
So
right.
if it is journal store or restaurant, so I think it's 3 month data is enough for that.
Yeah. So it again depends, Abhay. So what Hari mentioned is it is a stage gate
Again,
kind of
by
process.
so we just said no. Exactly. So you will have to understand what is the business problem that you're trying to solve. For
Okay.
that business problem, the amount of data that you collect, is it sufficient? Is
Okay.
something that's the question that you must necessarily ask. If that is
Okay.
sufficient, you are fine, good to go. Because that is what we will also check when we are reviewing your proposal. All right.
Okay. Okay. So like that in the proposal, we have to just collect the data and what the problem is facing and also the solution of that
No,
one.
you're not collecting the data during proposal.
It
Abhay,
is
you're
just
not collecting data during your proposal. You are going to propose that this is the data we are going to collect.
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Getting my
Okay.
Let
point?
me, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
To add on to Hari's point, let me give you an example. Now, suppose that you're collecting something from Zoom cars.
Okay.
Now, collecting data for 1 month will really not help, because again, the orders tend to vary over the weekends and
Yes.
over the months also, right? So if you
Yeah.
look at April and May, the order volume might be very high. And on the weekends also it might be very high. On certain months, like during the rainy season, it might be pretty low. So there are different factors. So in that, at that point of time, you might need a larger data set. Correct.
Yes, yes,
So that
yes,
is
yes.
when you will be able to kind of give certain insights. See, the smaller the data set, in some cases you will get. So it varies on a case to case basis. So as Hari kind of rightly mentioned, it is a stage gate process. So once you're able to kind of give us a proposal, you kind of tell us that what is that you're going to collect. I mean, roughly what is that and what is the time duration, we'll be able to kind of suggest you what is that you need to do.
So in that one, we have to just find out the problem also, sir.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
what the problem they are facing.
yeah, that is what you need to mention. I mean, what is
Okay,
the
okay,
business problem? What is the objective? What is that you want to solve? How you are going to solve it?
okay,
So, I mean,
okay.
in
So
the
first thing,
rubrics
you
which
know,
we have, yeah, in
okay,
the rubrics which we have kind of shared,
yeah,
that is kind of possible. Okay, I'll
okay,
just take questions from the chat box, and then I'll go to Trisit and Sachin. I
okay. Thank you, sir.
approached, so this question by Mahavir is incomplete. I approached a Levi store in my city. Okay, if they're able to give you data pertaining to a business problem, you can go ahead. Vaibhavi, sir, can we submit two proposals or just one? Until it's evaluated, we need to wait. Vaibhavi, you have to submit one proposal first. Okay. And then if it is okay, then it is fine. If it is not, we'll reject it. I mean, if it is not this thing, then you can submit another one. So just submit one proposal, whichever you believe is good. Harshal has a question where he writes, I'm approaching Kirana store near house. I'm looking for what can be expected from Kirana stores. One of the data is available from their purchase receipts from the wholesaler. Can I use those? Again, Harshal, the point here is that you're not addressing any business problem. So if you just take purchase receipts, you're just going to analyze it, but what is that you're going to do? So it remains still unresolved. So you just speak to them and try to understand what problems they have from the wholesalers, or what is the issue that is there. And then if you kind of understand the problem from the wholesalers, I mean, what issues they're facing. One problem could be that timely delivery of certain supplies are not happening. Then you kind of find reasons, kind of collect data, and then that is one way of kind of doing. He might be favoring other kirana stores in this one, so that is one kind of this thing. And then you collect this thing. Any sample for the proposal? No. The reason is this time it is floated as a new project, so we have clearly, Hari has clearly kind of given the rubrics, and in that point wise everything has been mentioned. So just follow the rubrics, just follow these rubrics. These are hard rubrics, just follow that and you'll be able to do it. So there is no sample proposal. However, if you have looked at the live sessions, you will get an idea that what you're supposed to do. So don't worry about it. So this is like a dry run for you guys. So do it from the beginning. Just follow whatever has been given to you. If I want to start in August, should I just skip the current Google form given for July? No, if you want to start in August, you can do that. No problem, because to the best of my understanding, if you are like kind of registering now, you get up to 210 days, right, Hari? So you get a total of, I guess, around 180 to 210 days. Yeah.
The last date for submitting your proposal will be mid of December. And the
Yes.
last date for Viva OSA will be 31st December.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's
So
the
you
time.
can, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but if you do it in August and if you're not able to supply complete by December, that means you'll have to redo it again. It will not be evaluated in that term. It goes to the next term. So that's how it is. So you do it in September, but you just want to finish it by December. You can do it in September. You can also finish it in September itself. I mean, you just have to follow those guidelines. If I have now approached LPG cylinder, Vaibhavi, your question is incomplete. I have approached LPG cylinder distribution agency. Fine, it's a business. So what is the problem? Try to understand from them what is the business problem that they are facing, and then collect data pertaining. See, the idea is this: approaching business is not the thing. You have to speak to them, try to identify what their business problem is, and then collect data pertaining to that. Okay, just approaching and getting data will not kind of solve this particular problem. I'm collecting data selling agricultural products. Can't analyze. Can I analyze the data and find the pattern and project, because he is not confirming any problem as such? Manish, in that case, what happens is that if you have attended the closed WebEx session which happened last month, so in Funny's case, that was the case where he approached a medical stores and who readily provided him all the data, but he kind of told that, look, there is no problem as such. But then what he uncovered after he did the analysis, that certain medicines were not getting sold, while certain medicines which has to be stocked was not getting stocked at the right time. So in some cases, the owner may not be aware of the problem. They may be aware of the problem and not be wanting to share, or they may be unaware of the problem. So in such cases, you can collect data and uncover it yourself and then ask. But then that would be a I mean, bit time consuming process, but we leave it to you. I mean, you can anyways do it. So that is the other approach of doing it. So I think Sachin had a question, and
So,
yeah,
who was the first previous one who asked this question? Sorry,
pardon?
I didn't get your name. By the way, is it?
Manish
Sorry.
Kumar.
Okay. Anyways, I'll answer Manish. Okay, Manish. The thing is, you will have to talk to that shopkeeper or the business owner. Okay, you'll have to probe. You'll have to do something called as probing. Understand. So, do you think everything in your business is all right? What is happening in the general market? Say, for example, Vaibhavi was talking about the LPG cylinders, isn't it? So, have you collected the data of the delay or in delivery of LPG cylinder to the customers, or when does the customer, the LPG cylinders arrive? So, how long is the LPG cylinder is held? Full cylinders is held in the warehouse or whatever the place it is. Okay, so all those things, if you are able to ask these questions, then they will understand. Do you think if you be able to reduce the number of days of inventories, okay, therefore you will be able to save a little bit more money? If you keep asking these questions, then they will say, yes, there is a possibility. Then you collect appropriate data based on that. It will be fantastic. Okay, so that's how I would suggest you guys go. First of all, you'll have to talk to the people. You'll have to understand, you'll have to make them understand as to why you're doing this, and make them understand as to how this project which you are going to do is going to be helpful for them. Then I'm sure that they will open up and they'll give data, whatever you ask for. Okay, so that's the key here. You will have to kind of understand. See, Ashwin had suggested a book called as Naresh Malhotra's The Signal
Yes.
Market Research.
Yeah.
You don't have to read the entire book. It's a very big book. It's an 890 pages book, if I'm not wrong. But
Yes.
if you read the first few chapters, he will really kind of give you as to make you understand what marketing research is all about. All right. And then you would have given certain case studies in the back. So just go read through these case studies. Just read the first few chapters. Then you will really understand as to what is happening, how does it go, and all those things. And these are extra reading materials which really help doing project in a better way. So, and again, what I would suggest is don't think that whatever you're doing now, it is only for this BDM project. You think that you are going to be a consultant now, or in your work. So at that point in time, it's going to be really helpful. So that's the attitude you must have really when you are going to try and attempt to solve problems which you're going to take. All right?
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
Yeah. So regarding the books, again, once again, I'll name it. It is also in the discourse. So one is The Marketing Research by Naresh Malhotra. So that was the first book I have mentioned. So there are 2 or 3 authors, I guess, Satyabhushan Das, Naresh Malhotra and Satyabhushan Das. Second one is Statistics. I think it is Paul Newbold. And the third book I suggested for those who are working on services is by Jochen Wirtz and Professor Christopher Lovelock. So these are the 3 books that I have suggested. And to those who are working on supply chain, you can also refer to a book by Professor Sunil Chopra, or there is one by Lee Krajewski. So any supply chain management book, preferably look at the foreign authors, because what I have found out is like this Professor Sunil Chopra's book is fantastic. Lee Krajewski is also very, very good. So those who are working on supply chain,
even if you want a lighter read, there is a book written by Professor G. Srinivasan of IIT Madras.
Yes.
Okay,
G.
that's a good
Srinivasan.
book too. Okay, so and he gives example from Indian cases.
Yes.
So if you think that you wanted to do that, you can also read that. It's a good book.
So read it from I mean the authors who are kind of very credible and well established, because that kind of gives you a better picture than reading some local books where things are copied from here and there, which shouldn't be the case, right? Yeah. So then what should be the project title? And whatever you're doing, Arun, that would be your project title, right? Suppose you are trying to solve a particular thing. Title is something which we leave to you. It is just like that. You do a movie and you give a title, right? Similarly, what is that which is going to be a project title? That's how it is going to be. So then which type of data I have to collect? Sandeep, again, that depends on your business problem. So as Hari rightly mentioned, if they're not willing to kind of solve, just have a dialogue with them, speak to them, try to understand what kind of business they are in, what are the issues that they're facing, is everything okay with them. See, every business will have some problem or the other. Speak to them, probe them further, use laddering technique, ask them one question, that question should lead, answer should lead to another question. So that is how it is. So also I would like to I mean, this is something which I'm stealing from Hari, because it is a subject which he has expertise in. So there are something called as counterintuitive problems, type 1 and 2. He is an expert in that, but let me take this opportunity to explain it. So sometimes there is a problem and you propose a solution, so that particular problem gets solved, but that the solution solves that problem but becomes a source to another problem. So there can be counterintuitive type 1 problem, so they are called as counterintuitive problem 1. And there are counterintuitive type 2 problems wherein you propose a solution and the problem worsens. So there can be something like that also. So sometimes a problem, so there is a solution which solves the problem. There can be a solution which solves that problem, which leads to another problem. And there can be a third type where, you know, you kind of propose a solution, but the problem itself worsens. That is another kind of way. So, yeah. Trishit, yes. I'm sorry I kept you waiting.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, basically my question was about the unstructured data.
Okay.
Like there should be some anomaly in the unstructured data, right? Like when I am collecting a data from the Kirana shop, it's like he's saying that I sold to the 10 kg of attas. Okay, but it is not like, it is not that he's remembering from his own, like he's remembering his whole own day that how much atta he said sold.
Yeah.
But it is not that he has
I
some
agree with you, because
structured
see,
data
that is
that
just based on,
yeah,
since
I
there is
am
no
sold
billing.
this
Yeah,
much. So,
I get your point. See,
so we
for
have to
example,
deal with that, right?
that's what. So what the best way to tackle that is kind of
Yes,
visit
sir.
them on a daily basis and kind of collect the data. That kind of reduces the deviation. Because if you kind of go every week and kind of collect it, in such cases, the deviation might be much
Yes,
more.
sir.
So when you collect it on a daily basis for some span of
Yes, sir.
time, then you
Yes.
know that deviation will tend to be lesser, because people
Yes, sir.
don't. The research says that people tend to remember only 21% after a month or so. So that's how
Yes.
it is. The memory kind of this thing. So it is always better you go, if you're free, go on a daily basis, collect the data, come back. That's it.
Yes, sir. And also, sir, as Hari sir just said that the collection of time period of collection data must be like correlated to the problem statement, right?
Yes,
But
yes,
for
exactly.
unstructured case, like because there is no previous data, right? So like
No,
there
that's
is no
what. As I
previous
told
data,
you,
but so in that
I,
case, collecting 3 months data will be much more difficult.
no, that's what I mean. In such cases, you can even look at, see, sometimes you collect 1 month data, but you're not getting out anything. I mean,
Yes, sir.
you're not seeing any trends, then it is of no use, right? So as and when you see, suppose you've collected it for a week, do an analysis for a week and see. There is nothing that is stopping you from doing 1 week analysis, right? So once you collect a fortnightly data, do an analysis for a fortnight, then for 3 weeks, do different analysis, do
Okay,
every
okay.
week and see what is the trend that is happening.
Yes,
Then
sir.
you will
Yes,
be able to
sir.
see certain
Got it,
patterns.
sir.
If there is no
Yes,
change
sir.
in
Yes.
patterns, which means that
Like
whatever you have
it's
done, there is nothing which you can tell them, right?
saturation.
Yeah, so you have to do
Yes.
different
Okay, sir.
analysis. You can
Got
do
it.
it for
Thank you,
every
sir.
3 days, you can do it for 5 days, you can do it for 10 days. Just see the analysis. Yes, Sachin.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I actually reached out to a sweet shop. These
Okay.
guys sell sweets and sweet shop. So basically, they have a problem, which is that they are unable to get good chefs at some price. Okay,
Okay.
whatever, like either it is very difficult to find chefs, like the skilled labor, it is very difficult to find them, and even after that, if they find it, they are pretty expensive
Okay.
according to their profits. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
so I had a word with them. Like this seemed to be their major problem. Like
Okay.
in this regard, what type of data should I collect for solving this type of thing?
Yeah.
Sachin, can you elaborate this? It looks like a very interesting problem. Okay, can
Mm-hmm.
you elaborate about this a
Yeah.
little bit?
So
What
okay.
what type
So
of business it is?
okay.
It's a
So it
sweet
is a
shop.
sweet shop,
Okay,
sweet shop like Agrawal Sweets. Okay, sir.
okay,
So these
okay,
guys have all types of sweets, all types of like cold drinks and stuff, and like all namkeens, like everything. Okay,
okay.
samosas, jalebis, and everything. Okay, their major problem is they are unable, like when any of their chefs leave, they are
Uh,
unable to find good chefs. Like it is very hard for them to find good chefs, and even if they do, the
okay,
chefs are very expensive. The chefs are
okay,
pretty expensive, and they tend to leave pretty early. They tend to get good offers from
okay.
somewhere, and they tend to leave pretty fast, basically.
See, I think they have some positioning problem. Okay, I mean, again, you read this Naresh Malhotra book, you will be talking about segmentation, targeting, and positioning problem. Okay, so I'm not sure as to where they are positioning. Are they positioning and targeting the elite customer? Are they positioning and targeting the fortune at the bottom of the pyramid customers, or somewhere in between? So how does that
In
work? That
between.
is something that they have to find out. One. Second thing is, what is that? There is a framework called as VRIO framework. Okay, valuable, rare, imitable, organizable. Okay, you just have a look at it. VRIO framework. Okay, so which actually talks about something which is very interesting, where whatever you produce, is it valuable? Okay, so is it copied? Can it be copied by other people easily or difficult? And all those things. Is it rare? So if you kind of ask these questions, they will be able to identify the competitive advantage that they have over other things. Okay, so if there is a
Yes, sir.
high competitive advantage, it doesn't matter. They can pay very high for the chefs, and at the same time can charge premium from the customers. Okay, so it is basically a strategic positioning problem which you're trying to address. Okay, so that is one way of looking at this problem. The second way of looking at the problem is you can actually talk to them and figure out what are the places where you can completely take off the reliance of the chefs. For example, can you automate sweet making machines? Okay, can you automate namkeen making machines? How easy or how difficult it is? Will you be able to bring that kind of a taste which the chefs are making and all those things? So if they are able to answer such questions, so the problem of chefs leaving, the attrition of chefs, okay, or availability of skilled laborers and other.
Yeah, I think we
You
lost.
have to talk to us. Sorry, the business owners. You'll have to make them make them understand that the way in which we can approach this problem. Okay, and then you can actually suggest them these are the two ways, and then you can help them which way to choose for them. So if they choose one way, then the data collection becomes very easy for you.
Yeah.
Getting my point?
And in addition to that, I would also want you to recently what Haldiram's did is they did good business during the pandemic, and then they attributed it mainly to, as Hari rightly pointed out, standardization. They bought in different machines and they made sure that everything was standardized. Okay, and the quality was intact. And secondly, in this hotel industry and other business, there are a lot of issues also. The owners would not tell you everything. If possible, try to reach out to the chefs as well. Now let me give you an example. Now there is a restaurant here. I stay in a place called Velachery, which is closer to IIT, and they have a very good restaurant there which is being patronized by a lot of people. Now what he has done is the capacity is very high. The restaurant has a capacity of 100 on Saturdays and Sundays, but he's just managing with 5 or 6 staff, and that is why what is happening is that every customer is waiting on an average for 25 to 30 minutes. And when I spoke to the waiter and the cook, then he started telling me that, look, the owner, we have told this to the owner, but they are not at all bothered. They're paying us 12,000. We work for 14 hours a day. See, this is the other version. You get the point, right? So
Yes,
so it is an optimization kind of problem. If you look at it, the owner would want to maximize his profits, but at the same point of time, they don't think about their workers. So they would always say this. But if you look at the salaries also, on an average, they're paid 10 to 12,000 rupees, and then they say that no, this is what we have to do. But as Hari rightly pointed out, what is very important is segment. Whether they're targeting, the segmentation and the targeting group, whether the target is the lower income or the mid or the high income segment. To the best of my knowledge, it is low to mid. That is what I kind of understand from this. So try, if possible, even try to speak to some of their cooks and understand what is actually happening. Then you may get a different version of a story, right? Then you may get
Yes,
a
sir.
different version of the story, because every version to a story will have 3 sides: yours, theirs, and the truth. And the owner would not be sharing the other side. So in most of the cases, these people are underpaid and they are asked to work more, which never happens, right? So that's how
Yes,
the
sir.
business runs as well. So today, interesting, I'll give you one more example. So morning, I kind of went to a place called T Nagar, which is the shopping arena. And there was a Louis Philippe store where I went in, and that store did not have any customers, but there were 10 salesmen. And that could be one of the reasons why customers were not even walking inside. And the minute we entered, like, 3 of them came to us, and then the remaining 7 were looking at us. I mean, which kind of made us feel uncomfortable. Me and my friend, we kind of went there, which made me feel uncomfortable. And then, we asked him to show 2-3 things. He showed, and then he said, this is there, this is not under discount. Before we could, they started judging us without even, we did not make a purchase, but just by our appearance, people start judging, and you really don't know who your customers are. For example, in one of the Reliance store, there were few customers who were from the fishermen, I guess the community. I think I read it in the newspaper, and nobody paid attention to them. Ultimately, they ended up buying an LCD TV. So you really don't know who your customers are. So what they share is one side of the story. So speaking to many people kind of can give you better insights. And then, yes, as Hari pointed out, standardization is one way of reducing this problem. But if it is something which you have to prepare fresh and serve it, then definitely he has to pay. Right? There is no other
Yes,
go
sir.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So very good problem. Go ahead, and definitely to everybody here, please read the first few pages of the book by Naresh Malhotra. I mean, I suggest that you keep a copy of it. Otherwise, there are avenues by which you can get this thing. But that is something which I have, and I would recommend you read that, because most of your things will get cleared as you read it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Visist. Yeah.
Okay.
Visist. Yeah. Next question.
Good evening,
Yeah,
sir.
it is a Pearson. Yeah. Visist. Sorry, it's a Pearson publication. Yes. Yes. Visist.
Sir, I have taken the vegetable problem, sir. So in this, when I collecting the data, suppose we take an example of tomato. So for the day, is the price was 15 rupees per kg.
Hmm.
At the last of the day, 5 kgs will be remained, sir.
Okay.
So he was transferring to the next day, and the tomatoes becoming quality was less. So he want to
Okay.
sell with this 10 rupees per kg.
Okay.
How to categorize the data and how to I will put the data in Excel sheet, sir? I
Now,
was
so
confusing with
it
this.
is easy, no? So you have opening stock, sales, and closing stock, correct? Your
Yeah,
opening
sir.
stock and what is the cost price at which he bought, and there is a selling price, right? So
Yeah.
your opening stock into that minus this thing will give you the closing stock and the profits also, correct?
Yeah, sir.
And then whatever is left out, see at what stock he wants to buy. Suppose something is left, like 5 kgs is left, at what rate does he want to sell? Does he want to sell it at the previous day rate? Then the cost of that would be 5 into 10 per kg, so it's just 50 rupees. Now the fresh stock comes in, the fresh stock rate may be separate. Now add those both and then subtract it with the selling stock. So that is how you go it, right?
But loss will be occurred, right, sir?
No, that again, why is there a loss in that case? I mean, it is not possible to tell directly, no, that there is a loss. The rate may be lesser than the previous day, or the rate may be more than the previous day, or the rate may be the same, right? There are
Yeah.
all three possibilities.
Okay,
If
sir.
it is more or if it is the same, there is, if it is more, there is a profit. If it is same, there is no profit, no loss. If it is lesser, then definitely there is a loss. If he has bought yesterday for some price, but today the price is reduced, do you think would people pay a higher price and buy it? Obviously not.
No, 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 sir. Yeah.
Well, let me give you one more example. So I think on Friday I was fixing a screen guard for my mobile, and then I saw customers everywhere. The price of the screen guard, 11D screen guard, which you get on the streets, I mean, it was like 100 rupees or
Yeah.
something. And when he saw me, I mean, there, he just said 150, 250. Aapko lena hai. I mean, if you want, you buy it. And then I saw the person paying right in front of me. He was paying 100 rupees. And I said, do I appear to be a fool? I mean, you're making the customer buy the same screen guard, same phone for 100 rupees, and you're saying 150 rupees. And then he said, no, sorry, negative, ye mat karna, screen guard bada hai. I mean, the screen guard is bigger. Then I told him, come on. I mean, you just cannot do this. If you don't want to give it, it's fine, I'll go away. But you get the point, right? In some cases,
Yeah, sir.
he saw me and then he got confused. You get the point, right? So there are situations like this as well. Now this can lead to a lot of other issues as well for him. People may not want to patronize him again.
Yeah, sir. But the storage means price also will be increased, right, sir? The rent all will be.
No, that it was on the street. I mean, if you go and buy the same screen guard, so surprisingly, when I went day before yesterday, I put the screen for 100, and the same screen guard when I went to another mall outside which they were selling, the same was being sold for 60 rupees, and what you get it for 20 rupees. So there was no rent. Maybe he has to pay some what do you
No, no,
say?
no.
Things.
Considering my vegetables, sir,
Yeah,
for
your
storing for
vegetables,
this.
yes, rental and other things come into play. I agree on that, but he cannot sell for anything more than the market price.
Okay, sir.
If anything is more than the market price, people will definitely not buy.
Okay, sir.
Right. But again, let me give you one more thing. Now, if the same thing is being sold in a supermarket, it can go at a higher price, and that
Yeah.
is where you add that value, right? Now that value addition happens there, and you're paying for that experience there. people end up buying there. So there are people who don't want to buy it in just markets, but they may prefer buying it in supermarkets, and they don't mind paying there. That's how
I
it
saw
is.
that yesterday only, sir. The mangoes cost was around 60 rupees per kg in normal market. In the
Okay.
Spencer's, the cost was 130, sir.
That's
130,
what, that
140.
difference is always there. So that is why that value addition is there, and which people, I mean, people kind of value it, because value is benefits upon cost. So for people, it is all about perceptions, Visisht. So the
Yes, sir.
perception is that Spencer's is selling me good one, something which is very clean. Hygiene is a factor. Many things come into picture. The consumer behavior in itself is complex.
Okay, sir.
Okay, now there is also something called as revenge buying. Okay, I'll give you my own example. So I went to a Casio store last year, and I asked him to put a strap, and he replaced the strap, and then I asked him to show him some watches, and he was kind of not slowly was showing it to me as if I did not want to buy. I asked him to pack, just because I wanted to teach him a lesson. I just bought one watch, and then he was shocked, and then I told him that you don't judge your customers like this. So there are different things. There is impulsive buying where you don't plan but you go and buy. There is revenge buying, but all these can impact a business negatively. I bought it, but I left a nasty review for him. I left a nasty review for him on the Google this thing. I also wrote to their company. Is this how you treat the customers? I got an
Yeah, sir.
apology, but I'm just telling you there are different ways.
Yes, sir.
So
Okay.
the consumer behavior is very complex.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions? There was one, I think, what data we should ask, like what thing. Srishti, it again depends on your business problem, Srishti, because if your business problem is something which requires you price per unit quantity, just like I think Visist was mentioning, in that case, you'll be knowing the quantity, the unit price, the selling price, all that would be needed. So it depends on what problem you are trying to solve. If it is inventory, then the opening inventory, what was the price at which you bought, what is the lead time, what is the time from the time you place an order, how much days are needed, how much time it gets consumed. All these details will be needed. So the data that you have to collect depends on the problem. Okay, so that's how it is. Anything else? Anything else? Any other questions?
You can also
So
ask questions regarding week 7 and 8 if you have anything.
yeah, week 7 and 8, if you have any questions, you can ask. So don't worry about this thing. Just follow whatever rubrics you have given and just follow that. That is how you write it like a story. Don't copy it from anywhere. Just write it like a story, and just do proper write it in a very nice manner like a story, so that you ask somebody else to read it also. You can even give it to your friends, your parents, your brothers, sisters. Just ask them to read. Ask them, what do you think? Suppose what you want to convey, even if they are able to understand, you do that also before submitting, because it's all very important. Take it very seriously, so that it will be a very good experience, and this will open up more avenues to those who have attended the WebEx session last month. You would have seen that people from the industry were catching minor things on the dashboard. He said that when your list of items, you don't do a pie chart. When there are limited items, pie chart becomes easier, because those color or those pies are easily visible. But when you have more and more, you go with the bar charts, or you go with other modes of distribution or graphical analysis. So all these things, minor aspects, will be taken care of. So any other questions on Capstone or week 7 and 8? Please let us know. So if it is not there, then we'll kind of wind up. Any more questions? We'll wait for another 30 seconds, and then we'll wind up. So if you have doubts, please put it on the discourse. But again, make sure that you've gone through the videos. And what is data cleaning? Again, certain things are directly available. Please use this, and go back, read those reference books which I mentioned. Other than that, if you're just dependent on us doing what is just expected out of you, then it will not serve the purpose. So what you have to do is make use of, understand this, make use of all your learnings, and then work on the project. That is when the cream comes out. So that is what we want you to do as well. So just don't do it for the sake of marks. Do it with complete satisfaction, and that is when it kind of helps you out. If there are no questions, then we can wind up. What do you say, Hari?
Yeah, Ashwin.
Okay, so I'll be ending the call. 10 seconds more. Okay, thank you guys.
Hello, sir.
So feel free. Yeah, Subhadeep.
Sir, just I wanted to ask, will there be any session for week 3 and 4? Because we informed in the last class to Sukrat sir, there are issues on various topics the students are facing. So that's
Okay.
why.
Yeah. Okay. So please put it on the discourse and tag Milo and
Malolan.
Srivatsa. Yeah,
Okay.
Malolan and Srivatsa. And we'll
Srivatsa.
also be anyways informing them that week 3 and 4 is what you're asking for.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And sir, could you please elaborate on these 3 points on the proposal rubric that was sent in the email? So,
Yeah.
what is the difference between executive summary and title?
Okay.
I tend to believe there is some common issues being shared upon those 3 topics like executive summary and title, organization background, and problem statement. So, how
Yeah.
different and how similar are those?
See, executive summary is an entire gist of what we have written after that.
Okay,
For example,
almost
you'll
like an
be talking
abstract.
about all. Yeah, it's like an abstract, exactly.
Okay.
Right. So
Okay.
where it will be easy for the people to understand what you are going to do. Okay, what
Okay.
have you done in that particular proposal? That's executive summary. And the title. So the title, what we say here there is, have you given the right title for the proposal that you are suggesting? And that's
Okay.
very important. So you say that I'm going to look at revenue analysis, and then you don't even have revenue in the title, then essentially there is something wrong.
Okay.
Maybe your understanding about the problem itself is wrong. So we would like to see the title, whatever you are providing, it is relevant to the content that you are actually doing. All right, the proposal that you have actually made. So that's the title. All right, so there will be some weightage for the title and the executive summary, which is I think 10% of 100, and then which will be scaled down to 20. The 100 will be scaled down to 20, which essentially means that you get 2 marks for that.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I got it. And sir, in the problem solving approach, there are 3 distinct subtopics, right? The details about the methods and intended method for data collections and analysis tool. So just because there are, I'm not that much familiar other than Excel and Python. So as I process the data, there might be something I learn and I apply that, right? That could be a probable approach. So it may not be completely written down in the proposal when I submit
absolutely fine.
So that is fine.
Correct. We understand that. See,
so that is
that's essentially, that essentially what happens when you do research. You don't really know as to what is the appropriate method until you do it. Okay, so tentatively you can give that this is the method I'm going to use it, but you can use an upgraded method beyond that also. Say, for example, you can use Python instead of Excel. If you think that is appropriate.
Or maybe Python, I can use Python on Excel, right? There are various ways to use it.
I mean, see, we encourage you to use everything. See, even a mere simple Excel, if you have done a project in simple Excel also, that is sufficient. You can score full if you have done it really well. You use complicated stuff, but then it is not conveying anything, then there is always a probability of scoring 0 also. The thing is that what we want is do it very simple manner, identify what the problem is. Analysis is ultimately what we want is how it is coming out, right? If something you have used complex methods and nothing is emerging out of it, it is of no use. But we strongly recommend to use all your learnings from different subjects and then incorporate it into this particular project. So that is how BDM is. And as a start point, how you have to do analysis, what kind of analysis to be done from the case studies. By now you would have got some idea what is that can be done, right? And there are different methods also. They would have shown you one particular method, but there are different ways in which you can do. Like last time people did dashboards. So what is this dashboard? So just they kept some filter options for different months they clicked, and ultimately the dashboard was kind of showing you like a kind of pivot table or something. It was kind of showing you everything in one slide itself. So people did that as well. So we leave it up to your imagination, but insights has to be there. Can we share the PDF version? Arun, it is actually not the right thing to share PDF. There are avenues from which you can find it, but publicly it should never be. We don't encourage that. But I would strongly recommend you keep a book with you. But there are avenues where you can find that. But we don't kind of share copyrighted books here.
And sir, another thing, sir, I have the book of Naresh Maratha. Should I upload it on the PDF on the portal? Matlab, will that
No,
be
no, no. PDF is something which should not be uploaded. Let me tell
Please
you.
don't do that. It's a copyright violation.
It's a copyright
You will be
violation.
taken to task if you do that.
Yeah, and
Okay,
action
okay.
can be initiated. Never kind of, there are avenues from
Yeah.
which you can get it, but that is something we don't recommend you do that, because I myself have the hard copy of that, because you see that, you know, a lot of efforts have gone by that particular publisher and the author in getting it right. So just
Yeah.
doing that is
Okay.
not the right thing.
So no, that's why I asked before.
Yeah, no,
Maybe
please don't upload
about
it. We don't encourage anybody to upload the PDF. See, there are avenues you can get this thing, but you do it this thing. But I would recommend that you keep a hard copy, because it's a very good book. It will help you any point of time. Any doubts that you have, it will help you. There are many things in that. If you look at it, there is cluster analysis, coin joint analysis, simple regression, multiple regression, logistic regression. Many other things are there. You can try everything that you want.
Yes, sir.
Suppose if it is kind of fitting your objective.
Then I actually,
Right.
before buying the hard copy, I got myself matlab, the gist of the book. So that,
Yeah, I understand. I
that's the
understand.
thing.
But we don't recommend that you
But
share
yes,
it
sir, I get it.
because it's not the right thing.
And
Not
it
only
is,
this book, any book.
yeah.
Because, you know, a lot of hard work of those authors and publishers will go down the drain if you do that.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Good.
Right, guys.
So if there are no more questions, we are leaving. Happy working on the medium capstone project. Okay.
So we'll keep coming every week, and any things that you have, please feel free to write to me and Hari. Email address is there. Otherwise, tag Hari on the discourse. I or Hari or both of us will answer that. Email IDs you have: ashwin@onlinedegree.iitm.ac.in and Hariharan's is
Hariharan at
online degree. Hariharan at onlinedegree.iitm. Yes. So you write to us, and typically we'll respond faster. But yeah, sometimes we get many emails, so that time please expect a lag. And if I don't reply within 2 or 3 days, send me one more email, because sometimes, you know, it might get missed when you get lots of emails. So yeah, so that is how it is. Okay. I think next Sunday we will not be having a session. After that, so once in 2 weeks. So next Sunday you take one full week and you do this. So coming next.
Sir, the 15th day we have having examination.
Pardon? Pardon? Shaktivel, I cannot hear you.
He says that there is an examination during the 15th.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll figure out. In that case, we'll figure it out and we'll let you know about the blanks. All right.
Yeah.
So we'll be keeping it an appropriate place where the capstone project discussion.
Feel free. Do mistakes, no problem. Send it to us. Get it vetted from us, and then you know, it's always good. You know, it's learning for us as well. So get it done. We encourage you to do good work. That's it. We are here to help you out, and yeah, we'll do that. Whatever is possible from us. Right? Okay. Fine, guys.
Okay, guys.
Yeah. Bye.
Good night and have a great weekend, weekdays ahead. Okay. See you a couple of weeks later. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Take care.
Thank